Daisy.
And I'm Terry.
And this is the Monday Mindset Podcast,
where we share things of interest to us and hopefully to you.
So let's get started with episode number 196.
And this week, it's Daisy's turn to share something with us. Daisy, what do you have?
Well, Terry, I am back with an actual podcast this time from the Nudge podcast that I've brought to you before, hosted by Phil Agnew. And this title caught my eye. It's very timely. Well, it's gone, but it's still reasonably topical. The hypnotizing effect of Valentine's Day. I'm not a big fan of Valentine's Day, but I thought this might be interesting, might be a bit of fun. And he kicks off by telling us a bit about the dark history behind Valentine's Day. And I don't know how much of this you know, but a lot of this was new to me. Apparently, in ancient Rome, February 13th to 15th was the Feast of Lupercalia. And during this feast, men would sacrifice goats, and then they would take the hides from said sacrificed goats, and they would whip women with them.
Wait, this is the festival we have now taken Valentine's Day from?
Well, you're getting ahead of yourself, Hold on. It is unclear why, but most likely it's some kind of male fertility rubbish. And they're not exactly sure why they did all this hide whipping stuff. And then apparently also during this time, men would draw names of women from a jar, and the men and women, so it was a bit like a sort of a blind date pulled out of the jar. And they would spend the time during this festival together. Now the name St. Valentine's comes from, in the 3rd century, 2 men who were both named Valentine were executed during this festival. They were executed on the 14th, and their murder was honoured at some point later by the Catholic Church with the celebration of St. Valentine. So that's where St. Valentine comes from, but it all stems from this Feast of Lupercalia, when they would do this whipping of women with slaughtered goat hides. Fun times. So what similarities might there be between then and now? Well, obviously discounting the sacrificial goat hides, but these special days marked in the calendar do tend to encourage us to act differently. And there is something compelling, he says, about these days, recognised by everyone, that influences our behaviour and spending habits. Thankfully, we have ditched the hide whipping of ancient Rome, though. But what's going on with these marketing ploys, and how can we manipulate them? And do we, as consumers, like or loathe them? And his guest in this episode is Professor Danny Zane, who is the Assistant Professor of Marketing at Lehigh University, Pennsylvania. And he studies consumer behaviour in an experimental manner. So how do these special days catch our attention and entice us to spend more money than we would do on a normal day? I forget his fellow professors or whoever was working with him in these experiments, but they saw an increase in emails hitting their inboxes of what he refers to as special day themed sales promotions. So sales that are attached to days or events that are not traditional, although of course we get promotions around these too. And they wanted to dig into what was going on and how effective it was. So, national, international, this, that, or the other day, and promotion accordingly. And marketers are trying to leverage these special days, these non-traditional holidays and events. And Danny was interested in researching these much more niche days. Do they act and benefit in any different way to the traditional promotions we see year in, year out, like St. Valentine's and Christmas and Black Friday and all these other things? Are they any different in consumers' eyes to the traditional sales and discounts that we're so used to seeing. So they ran some experiments to test this. And the general idea was to compare consumers' intentions to use the special day theme promo versus more traditional promotions. So they randomly assigned participants to see one of the two promotions. So there would be the two groups. So that one group would be the special day themed promotion versus the traditional day themed promotion, and then assess intentions to use the promotion to make a purchase. So a couple of examples: a discount on picnic gear for a National Picnic Day sale versus the same discount on picnic gear but just framed as an annual one-day sale. And they also did a partner study with a firm where there was a 25% discount in celebration of the anniversary day the company adopted their dog mascot versus the same 25% discount with no special day attached. So you can see there is this direct comparison. It's the same discount percentage, but one has some kind of special day theme and the other is not. And there was an increase in the stated purchase intention in the lab studies. So that's the former example, the picnic example, and the real world test case. That was the dog mascot example. And for both of them, almost twice as likely to click on the link to purchase on the site with the discount. So with this real world example, it was the same 25% discount, but it was a 2 times increase. So the subject line that went out in this email for the control versus the variant, the control was save 25% today at doggear.com, and the variant was save 25% as we celebrate the anniversary of Cooper's rescue. Cooper, of course, being the company dog mascot. And the lab study found the same kind of increase. But why do we buy during these random special days versus normal days? And he says that consumers perceive it as being a creative thing of the marketers to do. And self-reported data, so when they asked the participants, how creative is the act and the marketer, they found that consumers were rewarding marketers for their creative effort. And marketers are, by doing these special theme days, the marketers are giving the consumers ways to celebrate these special days. They're making us aware of them by offering the discount for that day and then allowing us to have fun with it, to celebrate it. Like with this picnic example, you're being made aware, it's National Picnic Day, and here is a special discount. It entices you to buy something. But of course, it also makes you think about planning an event that you might do with friends and family and have some fun with it. Gives you some ideas. So the marketer is being creative and original. And Phil talks about he hates getting cold calls. None of us like getting cold calls. They certainly wind me up a lot. There's no good reason for it. We didn't ask for it. We don't want it. But these special days create a reason for the company to be contacting us, and we're less likely to ignore it. They measured how creative customers find things on a 7-point scale. And this is where the comparison comes in a bit more between traditional and these special theme days. So Black Friday on a scale of 1 to 7 gets a 3, whereas a special day, and the example that they used was National Star Wars Day, ranked at a 5. So you can see quite a significant increase there. And so it gives companies a justification for their promotions. Customers value the effort that has gone in. The same thing tends to go for creative shop displays. We value the effort a company has gone to try and garner our business. And they also reference how supermarket sales noticeably increase when the shelves are tidy and well organized. And they cited Waitrose and Whole Foods. That's probably quite a good comparison across the pond there of the kind of store we're talking about. And he, the host, Phil, tested it. He offered a discount in the week following International Podcast Day. He did a promotion on a course he offers. And so he tested this with this AB emails. They both offered a 50% discount. But email A was just a 50% off, whereas email B was 50% off due to International Podcast Day. And it was very similar outcome to Danny's studies, 2 times the number of clicks, and the open rate of those emails also increased by 9%. And so you can use this for existing days that are out there, but you can make up your own. And some have gone from a marketing campaign for a company and are now national or even international days. And the example he cited was Swimsuit Day, which has gone from National Swimsuit Day to International Swimsuit Day. And that just started off as a marketing campaign by Land's End, started that one. So he says you can connect to an existing holiday, or you can create your own, create a company-specific holiday or even customer-specific days. So depending what information you gather from your customers, you could send out a very customer-specific promotion on their birthday, for example. And he also cites, and this was a fun one, and I didn't actually know what was behind this, but here in the UK, there's a Christmas jumper day on the run-up to Christmas. And apparently this was started by Save the Children charity, a big charity here in the UK.
And can I insert here?
Yeah.
For those in the US, jumper is a sweater.
That's right.
Christmas sweater day.
We do also call them sweaters, but they're more jumpers to us. This campaign was launched in 2012. And on this day, you are encouraged to wear Christmas jumpers and to donate to Save the Children. And celebrities have got involved to help raise money for the charity. And apparently, even the waxwork queen in Madame Tussauds wears a Christmas jumper on National Christmas Jumper Day. But over £35 million have been raised in donations through this campaign. And as Phil was saying, it's hard to imagine that amount of money would have been raised without this special Christmas Jumper Day. And it's a big thing, kids love it at schools. There's Christmas Jumper Day at schools and everyone gets to wear their Christmas jumper. It's, it's fun and it justifies the message and it gains attention, it gains momentum, and often goes on, as he cited with, this example, but the previous example with National Swimsuit Day, it goes on to take on a life of its own. And the public tends to reward the marketer for their effort. And, it can be fun. But he does offer a word of warning. It needs to be creative. And the 2 things that are key to this are originality and appropriateness. And you need both. Fail with one or omit it, and consumers are quite likely to blank your promotion. So if lots of other companies are doing the same thing at the same time in a product category, say, the effect gets watered down or removed completely. So, you need that original edge. And you need to be appropriate. So you can't just jump on a special day for no good reason. And the studies that Danny does only involve discounts, but I think, you're not really going to offer promotion without some kind of incentive. But I just thought that was a little bit of fun. I know a lot of us we're very aware of being overly marketed with things like St. Valentine's Day, and a lot of us react against it, refusing to go out and pay the overinflated prices, refusing to pay the overinflated prices for gifts and whatnot. But I can't remember how many billions he said were spent around St. Valentine's. It was something like 26 billion or something. It's a vast, vast quantity of money. And yeah, like I say, a lot of us react by refusing to partake. However, if somebody were to send me an email saying it was National Potenko Day and offer me a discount link to a load of cute products with Potenkos on, I would be very likely to click that link. So I think, with a lot of things, it comes down to playing on those niche markets. But yeah, it's that creativity, it's that bit of fun, it's tapping into something that's a bit more niche. And yes, I don't mind somebody trying to sell me something, or I mind a lot less if there's some effort behind it. There's some thought that's gone into it. There's some fun. There's coming up with a particular day, like the company did for its annual anniversary of adopting Cooper. Well, that would tug at my heartstrings, and I think it would you too. And if they're selling anything that you're vaguely interested in, you would probably be just as likely as I would to click on that link and at least go and have a good look. So I thought it was a little bit of a light-hearted balance against the overselling that we all get a little bit pissed off with St. Valentine's Day.
If I heard you correctly, I think it's interesting that he kind of said you can almost start your own to be creative about it.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, okay, it could be, you would have the Potenko and I would have National Shih Tzu Day. But I wonder if people go look these up and find out that there really isn't an International Play-Doh Day or whatever. And I wonder if there's any backlash for that. But it's interesting just in some ways how, I want to say gullible, but it might not be gullible. It just, we'd like to feel like we're joining something. We like to feel that we're supporting something. We like a justification for our purchase. And so...
Yeah, and a justification for somebody to reach out and trying to sell you something.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you don't want it, you don't mind as much if there's a reason for them getting in touch with you on that particular day.
Speaking of these reaching out with sales or promotions, I think it's very odd. Here in the US, all year long now, I get emails and posts about Black Friday sales. That happens one Friday a year. But, it can be the middle of April and I'm getting a Black Friday sale email or a post nowadays. And I'm so curious about that. And I feel kind of jaded. I'm like, it's not Black Friday. Why? Okay, wait, maybe I do want this special deal you're offering, but why are you promoting it that way? So maybe my question is even just based on my own kind of skepticism of marketing techniques, that I don't understand why I'm getting Black Friday messages year round. It is not Black Friday on the day that I'm ordering my dog food, but I'm getting it at the Black Friday price.
Yes, I hadn't realized how, it's an American thing, but it's amazing that it goes on for that long, because that negates that it's not a sale anymore, is it? That's the thing that I've noticed, back when I was a kid, it was the Boxing Day, the day after Christmas for American listeners, but it was the Boxing Day sales were huge, or the New Year, and it was presumably companies getting rid of that year's stock at reduced prices. And we now have the Black Friday sales as well. They weren't a thing here at all, but of course we've got them now as well. But I've noticed, even in the relatively short time that I've been aware of it, that it's gone from being a day or two sale opportunity, like you can have this discount for Black Friday, then it's like a week. And now the standard here, anyway, sounds like it's longer there, but the standard here is that Black Friday discount lasts for the whole month.
Mm-hmm.
And I have actually taken advantage of those, but to a certain extent, if it is really restricted and there aren't that many of them, everyone used to look forward, save their money up and use their Christmas money and all the rest of it for the Boxing Day sales. It was an annual thing. But now there's a sale for everything.
In my parallel, it would be like having in the middle of May advertising for Boxing Day sale. It's like, but that doesn't happen until December 26th. Why am I getting this discount for this now? And as you just mentioned that, it reminded me of there are some stores, and probably anyone in the US, these are probably regional things, but when I lived in Michigan and then Ohio, there were certain stores there that I don't even know what states they're located in, but there was a store called Art Van. It was a furniture store. And there's a clothing and other household item stores called Kohl's. And they're always having a sale. So it's not like now you wait for the sale at Kohl's or you wait for the sale at Art Van, because there's always a sale, which to me just thinks, okay, maybe if you just didn't mark your prices so high to begin with, you wouldn't have to try to trick us with a promotion.
If you don't trust the prices anymore because you don't see that
That's right.
change in sales price.
And I don't have an urgency anymore. It's not like, oh my gosh, I have to get this now because or I need to go because there's a sale at Kohl's. Because when this sale is over, they will have a new one. And I don't even know what they call them. Obviously, they use various names. But like right now, today, when we're recording this, is actually a bank holiday here in the US, President's Day. So of course, every store practically will have a President's Day sale. But when this one ends, it's like, what's next? So we just got over Valentine's Day and then President's Day, and then there's going to be something else, and then it's going to be St. Patrick's Day sale and all of these things. And so again, I get a little less inspired to take advantage of the sale because I know there's always going to be a sale at those stores. And the ones that I'm getting the Black Friday sales now in February,
That's crazy.
I'm very skeptical to follow their marketing techniques. But it is interesting how much that affects our choices and our interests in shopping and purchasing or supporting something.
Yeah, I mean, 2 times the amount. But yes, I think starting this oversaturation loses the value of scarcity. You know, it's like being able to get hot cross buns all year round now. It's not just Easter. Thankfully, mince pies are restricted still till Christmas, but they start selling them in September or something now. Well, it used to be they only started selling them in December. Easter eggs are on sale as soon as they've cleared the shelves of the Christmas stuff. You know, it's just this oversaturation, we lose the scarcities. And tapping into what you speak often about our brain likes novelty. But I think these big marketing campaigns around these big traditional holidays, because they've sort of maybe waned a bit in popularity, they've felt the way they can increase that is by maybe extending the time period or whatever. Well, actually, what they need to do is get away from that and go down into these much more small niche days, it sounds like, and get those novelty receptors in our brains kicking off again. Obviously, it's much more niche, but in these days of the internet and so much stuff being mail order, okay, it's not necessarily international, but you can tap the whole American audience, or you can tap the whole UK audience, or whatever it is that you're sending out. Although you're tapping into a niche minority amount-wise of people who have Potencos, because it's the internet, it's still a huge, huge audience. But you can tap into all those receptors that start dancing about and make you want to click on those links. I just thought it was quite interesting. I always like to sort of find out about some of the things behind how I'm being manipulated and how I feel about it.
Absolutely. And realistically, marketing companies, pharmaceutical companies, food industry, they hire the top brain experts. These people know more about why humans do what they do than your therapist. Because they've niched down so much in looking at buying trends and influence factors and things. You know, they have created food for us, well, food-like products that are so unsatisfying and so palatable that we will consume them more and more and more. They're brilliant masterminds to figure out those details. If only we could use that for good for people. Like, how can we help more people get out of poverty. Well, let's really, really work on how the human brain works and come up with some solutions. But instead, we're supporting the food industry, the greeting card industry, and all of these others with the money they put into marketing. Like I said, they hire total experts way above what most of us get support from in other areas of our life. So it is fascinating, as you said, how we are being manipulated and yet almost enjoying it.
Yeah. Yeah, and sometimes definitely enjoying it. There are plenty of links that I've clicked on and known exactly what I'm doing, and that's Lila in the background. And just gonna, we're coming to a close now, so I'm just gonna have to let her whiffle on. She's creating because the dog upstairs is coming in and she can hear them, and so she has to respond. She can't not respond. She cannot help herself.
That dopamine hit is just waiting.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, they're all waking up now. It's time for their dinner, so I am going to have to go and deal with them before they all start kicking off big time. So until I see you again, I hope you have a very wonderful week.
And take good care, everyone. And just remember, you're being manipulated by all of this. Isn't it fun?